Much. Well, thank you very much. I didn't expect an introduction because I'm just up here to give, I think, a few brief welcoming remarks. First of all, I really, truly want to start out just by saying what a wonderful event this is. It's a fantastic opportunity to celebrate over the course of these 3 days the past as well as the present and then the future of the High Altitude Observatory. And what I'd like to do in my brief comments this morning is just talk a little bit, step back, talk about NCAR as a whole, and say a few comments and a few personal perspectives on the role of HAO in NCAR, especially moving forward. And before I forget, I'd really like to thank Scott McIntosh and the entire HAO team that has worked very hard to put together, I think, a really exciting agenda for these 3 days. Tom Bogdan yesterday in the last keynote of the day gave just an absolutely fantastic presentation. It was really focused on the various factors, the people, the things that came together that led to the creation of the High Altitude Observatory. And he covered in that presentation the period really starting from the Great Depression, going all the way up to about 1960. And near the end of that presentation, he talked a little bit about the formation of the National Center for Atmospheric Research, and then, of course, the role that Walter Orr Roberts played from that point moving forward. And just picking up from that, I'm not going to try to talk about the history of NCAR in the few brief moments that I have, but picking up from this point, this is the letter to the director of the National Science Foundation, Alan Waterman. Tom showed Alan's picture and made some comments about Alan yesterday, so I won't say much more. From Henry Houghton, who was the chair of the Department of Meteorology at MIT for about 25 years, on behalf of 14 university leads in the nation. And what this report, you can see here the date perhaps of February 1959, was arguing for, as Tom indicated, was because of the great societal benefit and the magnitude of the challenges in the atmospheric and related sciences, arguing for the formation of a national center, or as Tom alluded to yesterday, in the report they talked about a National Institute for Atmospheric Research, but of course that became NCAR. And as then Tom went on to describe, Walter Orr Roberts was asked to be the first director of NCAR under the condition that HAO become part of the National Center. And this is a picture, this is a quote that I often like to show from Walter that talks about, we have this tremendous opportunity to do incredibly important work, the basic research, and then the moral responsibility of doing research that is benefiting to humanity as well. And I think that this is a philosophy, one of the things that I'm most proud of, having been at NCAR for my career and now having the honor of serving as the director of NCAR, is that I think we really take this mission statement to heart. And I think that we have an incredibly dedicated and talented staff who try to adhere to this philosophy each and every day in their work. And I'm not going to take the time to read the mission statement or the vision statement of NCAR, but just to point out that if you look at the very bottom bullet at the bottom of the screen, this is really talking about the importance of doing research that is important to people, it's important to the well-being of the planet. And that really drives a lot of our activities, in addition to the fundamental responsibilities that we have to do great basic research, to understand this very complex Sun-Earth system, and of course, in terms of the National Center, a very important component of the mission is to work in a collaborative manner with the community and to support, enhance, and extend the capabilities of the broader community as well. And I wanted to show this slide not only because it's got a wonderful picture of Walt Roberts in the upper right corner, but I think this really emphasizes the philosophy that he brought forward, and that is we can only achieve this very important mission by being a center of excellence and innovation. This is really key to everything that we do. In fact, everything that we're most proud of here at NCAR and really embodies the work that we do in terms of providing world-class observational facilities, computational services and technology, community models, all of these things really being at the core of NCAR, are not possible without a scientific staff of the highest quality. And I wanted to mention that because if you look at the history of HAO in the auditorium bay next to us, if you sat through the presentations yesterday, and you look at the HAO staff today, they really embody this scientific excellence, but also working on very important problems. We do have a new strategic plan. I had the opportunity coming in as a new director a couple of years ago to work with our staff, to work with our community, to work with the National Science Foundation, to put together a new strategic plan. It's a relatively easy read. It's only it's less than 20 pages, including a lot of nice color figures. And if you want to go to the main NCAR webpage and take a look at that plan, I would encourage you to. I just wanted to emphasize that, again, really keeping with the role of NCAR and keeping with the vision that Walter or Roberts had, we remain focused on some of the grand challenges, challenges that are really appropriate for a national center to try to tackle. And again, we do this as a nexus for the community. We do this as a place where the community can come together, not only collaborate with us, but work with us in the long term. And if we look at our strategic plan, there are two major grand challenges, both of which I feel HAO moving forward has a very important role to play. The first relates to improving our understanding and the prediction of atmospheric, chemical, and space weather hazards, as well as their impacts on ecosystems, people, and society. And the second relates to the improved understanding, prediction, and projection of the consequences of both natural as well as anthropogenic climate variability and climate change, from global scales down to regional and even more local scales. So these are significant problems. And at the heart of these challenges is our ability to observe and understand this very complex Sun-Earth system, including the forcing from human systems as well. And then we must work to encapsulate this knowledge into dynamical models that provide increasingly skillful capabilities for the prediction of things like these hazards and associated impacts on socio-ecological systems. Moreover, and hopefully the animations work here, observations are really the foundation of science and are essential to fundamental discovery. And as we heard yesterday, and we'll see more today and tomorrow, observing capabilities are a very important component of HAO's mission. So this includes new observations that are needed to better understand and predict solar storms, as one example, from their origins and magnetic complexes on the sun to their impacts in the near-Earth geospace environment as well as on Earth. And then combining these observations and developing these in parallel with modeling capabilities to enable advances in our understanding of the drivers of impulsive solar storms. And quantifying the role of solar variability in space and Earth climate requires investigations, not only looking at the forcing that's coming from the sun, but the role of the full Earth system as well as the feedbacks that occur within the Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, magnetosphere system. So this is a visualization that I find to be absolutely fascinating. It's the first really mesoscale resolving simulation with a whole atmospheric general circulation model, the whole atmospheric community climate model, one of NCAR's community climate models. The simulations were performed at a horizontal resolution of about 1/4 of a degree. And what this video is showing is 3 days of atmospheric perturbations about 70 miles up in the E layer of the ionosphere, which of course is very important for things like GPS and long-range radio communications. And what it's really illustrating is that when the Earth's surface is rolling with stormy weather, it causes the upper atmosphere to ripple, much like a pond. In particular, these concentric rings that you see undulating in the South Pacific are the result of, in this model simulation, a tropical cyclone which formed off the coast of Australia. The key point being that the weather in the near space environment can be strongly affected by terrestrial weather as well. So it really requires this sort of end-to-end approach to really tackle these problems. And these are some of the exciting directions and frontiers that HAO is taking. And I think tomorrow we'll hear much more about these various capabilities and how they're really going to help position not only NCAR but the broader community in tackling some of these challenges. And the community models, I think, are an incredibly important contribution that HAO continues to play. So I just wanted to conclude now. Hopefully I don't have us behind schedule. I think I'm okay. Just to emphasize how strongly I feel that HAO really is central to the scientific goals of NCAR moving forward, including addressing the major grand challenges that we have on our strategic plan through its focus on the solar as well as tropospheric drivers of the geospace environment and how that environment responds across time scales. And in so doing, because of the terrific staff of HAO, the celebration of the 75th anniversary, so staff members of the past as well as the present, and staff members yet to come in terms of early career scientists and graduate students. I haven't even begun to speak today about the fantastic role that HAO has done, the long and rich history of tradition of mentoring, providing research opportunities for undergraduates, postdoctoral programs, visitors, a really fantastic program. So HAO will continue to work to build this capability, not only in terms of human capital, but new observing platforms to new community models, really working at the boundary of the Sun-Earth connection that will enable us to achieve our strategic goals as a community. So I just want to say how thrilled I am, how honored I am, how humbled I am to walk in the footsteps of someone like Walter Orr Roberts. Extremely proud of HAO and its legacy, and I look forward to having the privilege of helping it move forward into the future as well. So thank you very much.